Hi, Minstrel here, with an update on the Legacy League. I had finished my stun Berserker. It's a glass cannon with face breakers and the Abyss's helm. Able to stun lock tier 15 bosses solo, and with support the character can stun lock guardians in tier 16 maps as well. While using a shield I'm not stunning, but with a stun quiver that changes. Now watch the shield charge disappear from my skill bar. That's the moment I swap to the quiver, and here the magic happens. Do note that we did not properly set up our curses, nor did we chill the ground, so if that's sorted as well, you can stun lock Shaper with good support. Because of the stuns, the Hydra boss is interrupted and no longer disappears for the ad space. Up next, my second character, an Inquisitor Vaal Sparker. It's an expensive build, so it took me some time to gather all the needed gear. It clears straight line maps really fast. You whirl and zap around and chain the Vaal Spark skill. The skill needs souls to charge up, so while you move fast and you keep on Vaal Sparking, it keeps on going. The main question with this build is not how much damage you do or how much defense you take. The real question is, do you keep running and clear the map in half a minute, or do you stop to pick up loot? League stones that spawn monsters in combination with Beyond does wonders for your map. A Vaal Sparker has no problem with that. Since the sparks pierce each monster and hit the next, while the cold explosion from the Herald of Ice kill off the rest. You get extra Vaal souls from killing frozen monsters. That's why it's important to deal a lot of cold damage with your lightning sparks. The weapon I'm using adds cold damage to spells. The ring Call of the Brotherhood converts lightning damage into cold, and the Herald of Ice adds cold damage besides cursing enemies. Now all these sources might seem a bit over the top, but I like to be able to freeze rare monsters and weak unique monsters like Rogue Exiles. To charge up I use Spark, a regular Spark. Both have a crit chance of roughly 50%, increasing with power charges to roughly 70%. The Diamond Flask ensures most of the Vaal Sparks end up critting. That's important since it causes the shocks and freezes. For more kills and frozen kills for the Vaal Souls. I'm using a Chevron's wrapping armor to be able to go low life, and that enables me to take an extra aura and 30% more spell damage from the skill tree. In my setup I'm not using Pierce. I'm using boots that enable Pierce after kills, a pseudo 7-link setup. I could not afford Skyforce boots. That forced most the rest of the choices, like stun immunity with a Shayula and power charges gained from Assassin's Mark and from the skill tree. Complete stun immunity reigns supreme, because a stun can interrupt your Vaal Spark cast, and that's a really bad thing to happen, since you'll be shooting a blank round while being stunned, while in the meantime the monsters are not dying and closing in on you. The shield focuses on offense, where the +2 lightning levels are nice for auras and or the golem. Since Herald of Ice is rarely able to curse bosses, a small duration Herald of Lightning does the trick most of the time. The helm has a vital labyrinth enchant. 3 extra spark projectiles is mandatory. My 4-link spark set up to charge Vaal Souls is actually a pseudo 6-link, Pierce from boots and LMP from the enchant. Quite able to clear maps in the standard way, and the belt priority was reduced flask charges used. The gloves give a frost on kill, really nice lab enchant that can kill and freeze enemies. Not mandatory though, just a little nice extra thing. The Inquisitor takes all the best notes. Augury of Penitence is powerful enough by itself, but it gets better. It highlights monsters with circles around their feet, and it looks like the circles from a Strongbox spawned monster. This is not to be underestimated, it's really good to be able to spot all the monsters. Penetrate all resistances when you crit is the engine of this build. It completely revolves around it. Extra attack speed is needed to be able to move fast enough and to kill enough monsters for the next Vaal Spark. The build needs at least 4 unique jewels, and that can be quite expensive. My tree invests in the auras and takes the charges gained on kill. I didn't want to use Dream Jewels and I didn't have Skyforce, so I ended up taking this one, and I found it quite good. Vaal Pact is needed and does wonders in conjunction with the Vinctor's Flask. Since I'm using added chaos to mitigate some reflect, the Atziri Flask leeches a lot of chaos damage as well. For the no regen maps the boots leech enough mana to sustain, with the Labyrinth leech enchant. So this build does not take the Pierce nodes, since it does not use the Pierce gem, solely the boots enable Pierce. And that can be tricky when it's not activated in a boss fight. The phasing the boots give is not to be underestimated. Monsters react later than normal to your presence, and that has the consequence that they stay nicely piled up for the overlapping Herald of Ice. I'm considering linking Herald of Ice to increase the area effect. It's absolute murder. Also note that the unique Dream Jewels are less effective near the Shadow, since a resistance node has been relocated. The skill tree can be done in different ways, there are many roads leading to Rome. Okay, let's do another map with temporal chains and see how it goes. For starters, I'll show a regular Spark in a Vaal setup, and as you can see, you have a decent build with just Spark, without Vaal Spark. A lot of people are doing this build by running strands in 30 seconds, and they specialize their loot filter, so they won't stop to backtrack for an alchemy orb and just keep going. I don't feel pushed to play that way, I'm not going for level 100. Playing a bit slower feels just as good to me and more fun. The game becomes rather abstract if you zoom through 10 maps in 5 minutes. The breach scaling potential is really good and will fill your screen with loot. Spark does come with a couple of downsides. You cannot kill specific monsters, they are completely immune. These are SRS and animated weapons, for example. Facing bosses without a ready use of Vaal Spark can be nasty too. I did kill a Phoenix Guardian with just a regular Spark, so it's all possible. You just have to settle for a long fight. Another downside are the possible misfires. Sometimes you're standing close to an object and you're casting sparks, but you're shooting blanks, and that's really annoying and extremely dangerous. With experience you learn to avoid that most of the time. I've chosen the Vaal Sparker to hunt challenges. With the Berserker I was doing talisman rig pods to farm the currency needed for the expensive Vaal Sparker. I bought tier 3 amulets and compensated their low item level with my own talismans gained from tier 15 and tier 16 maps, so I could spawn a level 75 instance of the Wolf King lair. Start League, the unique weapons were selling for 150 chaos each, enabling me to gather roughly 15 Exalted Orbs for the Chevron's wrapping and the other stuff. At the time of this video the market has completely collapsed, they're worth 10C or something like that. I still have some work to do for the 40-40 challenges, but I'll get there eventually. Good luck with your challenges, and don't forget that teamwork by sharing kills goes a very long way into completing these endgame grinds. See ya, and thanks for watching.